that, create a disease that will actually tick that box, and then claim that all deaths are in that period are due to this, and blame anybody who doesn't do what we say for killing those people, and turn their entire communities against them, and make them pariahs in their countries, in their villages, in their towns. What a brilliant idea that would be. I didn't think of it. I've just thought of it now, but it's just after happening.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, John. That is absolutely it. Because, yeah, the creation of minority groups that aren't minorities or even groups is a huge weapon in this, what they call cultural Marxism. But I don't think these terms are that helpful anymore, because this system is more of a technocratic system. And it's a system where remedy is taken out of the equation. And yes, that has been going on for a long time. There are still judges out there who you come across who know this is going on, and they will try and signal to you and try and help you. In other words, they'll say, we'll try and get it out of this court into the High Court, or they'll give you the signals. But because they're compliant with the system, they're complicit with the system. So there is no remedy within the system. I found this out a few years ago.
I've seen that myself, and I've seen it quite recently, if I can put it like that. But nevertheless, they're kind of winking and nodding at you. Please do this, don't do that. At the same time, they can only go with you so far. And you're on your own then. You're trying to break the code and see what is it that's going on here? How can I get around this? How can I actually confront this? You see, but you see, this idea, I mean, the huge irony about this situation is that the group that they're claiming now as their victim group, the elderly, are the group that they were just about to start bumping off in huge numbers themselves by introducing euthanasia, which would eventually become like a kind of obligatory self-destruction by virtue of the cultural changes that would occur and which would be imposed by these people. But they decided, no, hang on, we could actually use these people one last time in order to get total control.
Absolutely, yes. And of course, the whole idea of these policies that are coming out is to get rid of the elderly. And that's been going on for a long time. And that was going on before the Liverpool Care Pathway. And what is, I think I reiterated this earlier on, but it was really about the fact that the elderly now have no use within this society. This is almost like Logans Run. This is basically for people who are of use, who can be taxed, who can pay their carbon taxation, who can be monitored and regulated in smart, high-density cities. I saw this coming in from about 2013. That's when it really escalated. You had this promotion of 30-somethings into all of these areas where they were making decisions that they were not qualified to make. And of course, they were getting empowered through the climate change agenda. They were starting to be part of these kind of funded NGOs. And this was the shadow government that was talked about from 1987 onwards in documents like Our Common Future. So looking back on it, you can see that this has been, it's kind of been a slow process, and it's been not very successful in the respect of rolling it out quickly. So then comes the beneficial crisis, and that's the point we're at now. And this is where we really have to fight back. If we don't, the line has been drawn. And just to pick up a point about earlier on, you were saying it's frightening. I was more scared in a way before because I didn't know when it was going to come. But now I feel full on as though for the first time in my life, in actual fact, I feel completely and utterly empowered by it in a strange kind of way, because it's kind of got rid of any doubt. And in other words, it's a dividing line. Now, there is a time, which is now, which is you are either with us or you're with the terrorists. That line has been put in the sand now. This is great. I'm really enjoying this. I'm with John Waters, and this is Windows on the World. Do call in if you want. We've only got 5 minutes to go. It's 800.
To serve as a denying with Patriots, all their just now how attach network.
Well,
so what they're doing is what?
Is that Mark in Florida?
Yes.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, gentlemen. You touched on it. You said Bolshevism. I would think it would be a mixture of fascism, Bolshevism. But what they're doing is what Greta couldn't do to us. They're using COVID-19 to do to everybody.
How dare you? Yeah, you stole my future. Yes, absolutely.
But, and in the courts, it's a tough thing to do. But you have to get them on fraud, at least the state actors, because you can't really take the corporations in, the Faucis and all, at least over here. But you can take the governors in because they're arresting people based on false pretense. There is no test for COVID-19 specific for it that can actually point to it for causing anything. And when they arrest people for the common cold, they're using Bolshevik tactics, whether they realize it or not. And
absolutely, but we need to find people, Mark, within the system. We need to find lawyers, attorneys who are going to take this on. Over in the UK, this is very difficult. Most people who work for the bar will not take the bar on. Big problem.
Yeah,
no, they won't, because that.
Yeah, come in, John. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I just want to say there that, you know, yeah, that's, you see, one of the strange things they've managed to do in all this is actually to penalize, as it were, innocent people, well people, healthy people. That's interesting, you know, that normally any kind of measures against infectious diseases are directed against those who are infected or people who have been close to people who are infected. Here it's actually the opposite. So it's a kind of like a mirroring of the idea of abolishing the presumption of innocence, you know, which is possibly what is about to come after. You know, because they're quite irritated now that you can't actually just hang somebody on the basis of general public emotions, which they've themselves generated. You can see this a lot with the Me Too movement and other things that, you know, they resent the idea that actually if somebody accuses you of rape or somebody of rape, that you can actually put them in the witness box and interrogate them, cross-examine them. So they want to abolish all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of not just itself, it's related to lots of other stuff as well, which is in the pipeline.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And to be able to cross-examine witnesses is impossible if you are in person. It's only possible for someone legally qualified to do that. You can actually kind of cross-examine people in the civil courts, though. The judge will let you do that, will let you put your case across and examine people for civil matters, but not in criminal, which is a big problem. Thanks, Mark. That's great. John, we haven't got much time left. Thanks very much for calling in and great points there. Yeah, John, would you just like to finish off, because I want to give you as much airtime as possible. Just finish off, tell us anything you want to do about the case.
Well, I just keep coming back to this thing that, you know, we have to realize that freedom is the most important thing. It's, it's so good. Freedom is such a great thing that we think it's like the air, that it can't be kind of taken away from us. But it's a very strange kind of metaphysical kind of concept, because it actually exists through non-intervention of in a way, but also it exists by the constant vigilance of those who benefit from it. And, you know, so I think that we have to read. The big thing about this thing, as Lord Sumption in the UK pointed out, was that people were actually giving their power away. It wasn't so much the powers would be taken; they were being invited to give them up, and they gave them up. And that's the worst.
That's absolutely it, John. It's all about consent. They need our consent, and people seem to be giving it.
That's
and
right.
That is no good. We've got to take it back. That's it from this show. I'm Mark Windows. Join me Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. for Windows on the World. Join me on windowsontheworld.net on Sundays, Wednesdays.
It was just the best. His death was probably avoidable.
Peter Tunn lost his life doing the job he loved.
He really loved like his patients. He always used to say, like, treat all your patients like they were family.
Dr. Peter Tunn died after contracting COVID-19. He was working at the Royal Berkshire Hospital in Reading. After his death, his son Michael found a succession of emails in which his father unsuccessfully requested protective equipment. One read, "We do not have any basic surgical masks for Caversham Ward neuro